I went for the money.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sick of having to rely on a business, on family. And I just wanted my own income.
Welcome back to the My First Business podcast. This is a mini episode where I take some of the best parts of my interviews with phenomenal entrepreneurs and chop it up for you like a snack.
I worked at EY right after college. Actually, I worked at Ferragamo and sold shoes for like 4 months until my dad was like, take any job. You went to college. Literally, I'm a brown girl working, selling shoes. He was like, take any job, anything. He's like, just work in an office building. So, I mean, it was like the day Lehman Brothers crashed. I got a call. I'd gone to 8 interviews at Ernst & Young. I was going mad. I was like, just no jobs out there, at least for me at that time. And the lady that called me, my first boss, she taught me so much. Her name's Megan Mills. And she I'll never forget, she was like, listen, we have a hiring freeze that's starting in like an hour, and this would have been your salary, but this is going to be your salary. And it was like 50% cut because they knew this was coming. It was like, everyone's like, she was like, can I still hire you? Like, I have no time to negotiate. And I was like, all right, done. I was like, let's do it.
Like, do you have a desk and a chair?
Yeah, I was like, let's do it. So after like 4.5 years, from there I moved to consulting within EY, kind of found my way into change management consulting, which is what I studied. And from there, while I was working on kind of these large scale ERP projects, I visited India. And my dad has quite a large garment manufacturing business. We had about, at that time, 8 factories in 2 different cities. And we were one of the oldest manufacturing people in Chennai in South India. So it was kind of his legacy, and he was trying to restart ERP. He was one of the first people to implement ERP in garments and textiles across India. And no one was using it, and I had come and I was just like visiting family, and a friend, and my cousin actually was a very dear friend as well. She was working with my dad for like 4 months before that. And she kind of convinced me, she said like, listen, I've done the whole consulting thing. She was very high up at Deloitte. And she was like, these last 3 months working with your dad and in this business has fulfilled me beyond words. And I can see your future. You're going to have mine in the consulting world. And you can always go back to that. There's nothing stopping you from going back to that. In fact, you'll go back with a higher pay at a kind of a different scale. But
good sales pitch.
Yeah, she got me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you have a point. So I'd worked at EY like 4.5 years at that point, and within 2 weeks, I came back to New York. I spoke to a few partners, and they all said the same thing. They're like, are you effing kidding me? They're like, if I had a dad that had a business like that, I would go in a heartbeat. I would give this shit up. I would figure out, even if you end up closing it, what's the worst that can happen, right? Like, go and have that learning. You'll only come back a better person, a better employee. And I was like, yeah, you're right. They all kind of like said, do it. So I went, and no one could have prepared me. They just kind of threw me in the deep end. My dad was, if you want to, I never expected you to go back to India. That's why we moved to America. So he was also like kind of taken aback. And he didn't know how to kind of prepare me. So he did what any good parent would do, which is throw you in the deep end, and then be like, swim.
Figure it out.
Yep. Yeah. And that was fun. So I did that. And that was so emotionally taxing, to be honest with you. I was thinking about all the learnings, and I have a whole list if you want to discuss it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really taxing, kind of emotionally like distraught and riled up. I was just like 25 to 30 at that time. Those 5 years were so just like, I learned a lot. Being in a family business, I learned but I didn't have a chance to kind of reflect and really like step back and see, who am I? Then, I got married, we moved here, and here I joined my husband's family business. Well, it wasn't a family business so much as me, him, and my mother-in-law, with the support of my father-in-law, started this farm. And again, it was great to be with family, because no one can understand you having kids better than your own family, right? So the 4 years I spent working with Aranya Farms was incredible because I could work at any time. I would be working my pumping. I'd be sending emails at 2 a.m., but then I'd be like sleeping to like 2 p.m., So it would be like all these crazy hours, and everybody kind of knew. We also lived together. We just moved out from my in-laws last October, and it was completely self-inflicted. We had so much fun living with them, in the sense that my kids kind of grew up around them. I had so much help, moving out was like, I was the saddest because I didn't have that support system, but it's part of life. We had to kind of make this break. So working with them, living with them, being in the family business, again, a very emotional experience. There's no respite, So for me, it was like, I was doing what you were doing. I was looking on LinkedIn and I was like, man, I really want to learn something new. And here I have to do everything. I can't really get good at one thing. So let me find a job where I kind of like focus and get really good at one thing and be in an industry where that I'm still like evolving, learning, And I really wanted to get involved in tech somehow. It always like lured me, but I have nothing to do with tech. I'm the last person to know how to do things on Google or Apple, to be honest with you. So I got this job and it was amazing. It was really good. I'm still involved with them. Actually, after the 6 months probation, I knew it wasn't working out. I think my boss also knew it wasn't working out, only because I was too used to having my own kind of timeline and ways of working.
Flexibility.
Yeah. And I really missed that. I really missed that flexibility.
Yeah, I think we all trade freedom, right? Like that's the main thing I remember from. It's not really about the money as much as it is about the freedom.
Yeah,
the money is a good, as you know, it takes a while to make good money if you're starting out from scratch.
Yeah,
but that freedom has. I've never made less money in my life than in my business, right? Like I've always made more money working for somebody else.
Yeah,
I make peanuts, but the fact that I can take a nap whenever I want to. Or have that understanding with somebody like, hey, I have this chronic thing that, one day in a month, like I will be unavailable.
Yeah.
And, I just have to report to my wife. And she understands it because she sees the pain right next to me, right? And same for her too, right? Like, once a couple of days every month, she gets to be a bit lower and lower energy.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine as well. And you can't replace that.
That's exactly it. I went for the money.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm so sick of having to rely on a business, on family. And I just wanted my own income. And I really missed it. And you saw people kind of, whether it's your friends in America or wherever, that are like going through these hardcore jobs and these lives that they're living, right? I mean, they have their own kind of problems. They have no family to help them raise their kids, and they're doing everything on their own, and it's great. But I just couldn't. I wanted to make the money, and also I wanted to kind of step away for a few hours of the day and see who I am without my family, because it was so much. It was like, even in the last 4 years, having 2 kids, raising 2 kids, it's a lot. It's a lot on just everything, and I wanted to use my brain in a different way. I did.
Was there a specific trigger, or were these thoughts kind of like accumulating over time for you? Was there a point where you made that decision that, now I got to stop thinking about it and actually?
Yeah, I think it was after my second son, he turned 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm so good at making food plans and talking about what sort of diaper rash this is, but I have no idea what's going on in the world. Like, and unless I know myself, I'm a black hole kind of person. I knew I had to kind of extricate myself from the situation. Otherwise, it's so easy to be around the same people and talk about the same things. And I'm not that person that can sit and read the news. I just need to be doing something different. Absolutely. So I realized that. And honestly, I went for the money. And I realized very quickly that what I'd given up. And people always say, don't chase money, chase your passion and money will come. Oh my God, let me tell you how true that is. If there is one thing that I learned in the last 6 months.
I thought you were going to challenge that.
No.
Okay.
100%. All that BS is true. You hear people say that, I'm like, keep quiet, auntie, move on. I'm like, whatever, uncle. They're always like, beta, do this, follow your dreams. It's follow your passion. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice having money.
That shit works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they're right. And I'm so glad I took that chance and did it at 36 and didn't wait till, 76 to have to, tell my kids or grandkids that. But I realized that, and even when about 4 months into the job, we realized that role was not for me. Even when my role changed and my salary changed, I realized, again, the new role was so much better fitted for me. It was like a it was like a foot on my chest, that job for the first 4 months. And then once my role changed, it almost, even though I was making less money, I felt like, wow, I'm actually doing what I like.
All right, that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed that teaser. I think you will love the full episode. I'll leave the links in the description below, or you can head on over to my website. It's nparvez.com. Before you head off, I have just one more question to ask you. Why haven't you subscribed yet?